Welcome to Time to Buy or Sell by Kurt Realtors Sierra Pacific Group. Today, we will be discussing the housing market in El Dorado Hills. We're doing a deep dive into what you really need to know right now as a buyer or seller, jumping straight into the latest local data.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating time to be looking at this specific zip code. We've got the fresh numbers from late January through late February 2026. And honestly, the Metrolist data is well, it's challenging those usual national headlines you see.
Right, exactly. If you're trying to time the bottom or hoping for a peak to list your house, you really need the nuance here. Because at first glance, the data feels like a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, looking at the inventory, just 129 active
Which
listings.
feels incredibly tight for a market this size.
It really does. But then you see 45 homes pending, and the velocity is high even though the shelf is essentially half empty.
Yeah, that is your classic definition of a supply-constrained market. But while inventory is low, pricing has actually found a very solid floor. Right now, the median closed price is sitting right at $800,000.
I did notice the average was closer to $888,000, though. That's a pretty big spread, nearly $90,000 between the median and the average.
It is, and that gap is really the luxury sector doing the heavy lifting. We have some high-end custom estates closing that just pull the average up. But for the typical family looking to get into El Dorado Hills, that 800,000 mark is the reality. It's solid, but it's not spiraling out of control.
What really jumped out at me, though, was the speed. 54% of closed listings sold in the first 30 days. Usually when people hear balanced market, they think homes are sitting for months.
Right.
But here, more than half the inventory clears in 4 weeks.
Speed is high, yes, but here is the twist frenzy is low. Homes are moving fast, but they aren't selling for 10% over asking anymore. The close price to list price ratio is hovering right at 97.5%.
Let's put real money on that percentage for everyone listening. If you're buying that median $800,000 home, a 97.5% ratio means you are securing it for roughly $780,000. That's $20,000 left on the table.
That is substantial leverage. That $20,000 is your closing cost covered, or a permanent rate buy down. Think back to 2022, you were using that money to bid over, asking just to get a call back. Now you can actually negotiate repairs and keep your contingencies.
And that leverage is definitely being fueled by the macro picture, too. We finally have mortgage rates hovering near 6%, the lowest we've seen in 3 years.
That 6% figure is the psychological key here. It's unlocking those rate-constrained buyers who previously just refused to trade a 3% rate for an 8% rate. 6% feels manageable to them, which is why demand is meeting that limited inventory so aggressively.
Sellers need to be careful with this data, though. Just because buyers are back does not mean they are desperate. With median days on market at 27, the clock is ticking loud.
Exactly. If you're a seller, you basically have 4 weeks to make a deal. If you are still active on day 31, the market is telling you that you overpriced. Buyers are savvy. They will pay fair market value for a turnkey home, but they are punishing project houses with low-ball offers or just ignoring them completely.
It's a total flight to quality. And we know exactly where these buyers are coming from. The migration data still points heavily to the Bay Area value trade.
It is pure arbitrage. Look at the median home size in our data set. It's 2,913 square feet.
Nearly 3,000 square feet. If you are coming from a 1,200 square foot condo in San Francisco or San Jose, you aren't just buying a house. You are tripling your living space for probably less money than you sold for.
That's the whole move-up lifestyle draw. You get the top-rated schools, the large lots, the community planning. Plus, look at the Gateway El Dorado specific plan adding mixed-use commercial and park spaces makes the area incredibly sticky. You don't have to leave town for amenities.
So synthesizing all this, the market is healthy. Distress like foreclosures is pretty much non-existent locally. Buyers have about a 2.5% negotiation window, and sellers have a 30-day window to perform.
Right. But here's the thought to chew on as we wrap up. We are heading into spring with rates stabilizing. If inventory doesn't unfreeze and spike significantly, that competition is going to heat up fast.
Yeah, if rates drop another quarter point, that $20,000 negotiation gap we talked about could just vanish overnight. We might be looking at the absolute last window of buyer leverage before the spring surge erases it completely.
That is the risk of waiting. The stability we have right now is the opportunity.
Thanks for listening to Time to Buy or Sell. If you have questions about real estate in El Dorado Hills, we're here to help. Reach out to us at Kurt Realtors Sierra Pacific Group. That's Kurt Realtors online at wrspg.com or call 916-619-1971.